Stan VanGundy is coaching Dwight Howard next year.
If I was Dwight Howard, he would not be coaching me.
So I'm going to get to Sekou in a moment. So you do or do not believe that Howard did it in the first place? Or I understand the impropriety of bringing it out in the open, whether or not it happened. Do you think it happened in the first place? Do you think Dwight Howard asked for his coach to be fired? Or suggested as much?
I believe because everybody was on their P's and Q's, probably, in this situation. You don't want to leave any fingerprints. I believe his agent or some representation said, listen, you know what we're going to have to deal with. I don't believe Dwight Howard said anything to anyone. I don't believe one word.
But you don't think he marched upstairs?
And I know we have to do this, or they have to do it in journalism, but I know a lot of people that hide behind the source. My brother hits me every day after he watches ESPN and says, sources say Tigers won 5-3, and he just watched ESPN. Or a friend of mine will go, sources, and it's no, and that's the one thing about the coach.
Yeah.
He threw the whole organization under the bus. Because if I'm a player, I don't trust, forget Dwight Howard. If I'm a superstar, I don't trust your organization. There's certain organizations you trust. You trust Dallas. Even, we got to find out, because I heard something happen there earlier. We got to find out what happened in Dallas, but you trust Mark Cuban. You trust certain places to know they'll put you in a position to win. And I just think they don't understand you can pay anybody, but the trust has been broken there, I think, for a lot of players in the future.
All right, let's get over to Sekou Smith. Sekou, what do you got on all this?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I disagree with C. Webb and really with you, Greg. I think Stan VanGundy was pushed into a corner. He had no choice. I mean, the day before the story comes up, they're asking him to lie day after day. He knows he's fired.
So you're saying
why sugarcoat?
You're saying he was okay lying the first 4 months of the season?
I'm not saying he was okay with it. I'm just saying at some point somebody's got to start telling the truth.
No, well, but signing up, Sekou, really, for the coach to be the reason of any leakage of water on the team is the worst thing that can happen. Basically what you're saying, Sekou, is when Indiana got in a fight and Reggie Miller put Ron Artest in the locker room and nobody talked about it because he's a leader, or when Shaquille O'Neal got traded and nobody talked about it, or Michael Jordan went through this and nobody talked about it because that's what they went through. You're saying it's okay for this coach, because you're from the media, to talk about everything that's in the locker room? Hell no. That breaks the sanctity of all sports. When your coach snitches first, it's nothing else. All men abort. Didn't that just happen in Italy on the boat or something? That's the captain that he had. The dude in Italy telling people it's okay playing the radio because he's the leader. Leaders are not allowed to do what everybody else does, or he wouldn't be a leader, or he'd be the 15th man on the bench. So I understand that, Sekou, but having played it and having had speeches from coaches that talk about family, unity, playing together, that's not something that somebody in my family would do. That's not something I would do to GA, and we haven't even played together.
Right.
So there's no way that you're a leader.
Yeah.
There's no way. Or just quit like D'Antoni.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing, too, because you don't think that Mike D'Antoni dealt with a lot of stuff when he was the head coach with the Knicks. But, the issue I have with it, too, is who said that Dwight said it? Like, you made the point. His representation may have said it, but
Right.
Are we to believe that Dwight Howard went to Otis Smith or to the
Isn't that a matter of semantics, though?
But it's not, though.
No, semantics might not have happened.
No, because a lot of times we all have agents. We don't know specifically what the conversations our agents have when they're in the negotiation process.
Yeah, but I know if I tell my agent, hey, I can't work with Greg Anthony anymore, can you make that happen? I know if I've said that.
Yeah, that's true. But what if you don't say it, but that's still implied?
Then I'd have an issue with my agent.
But what if everybody wants you to say it? You know what situation we've seen like this before? And I was mad at KG for not wanting to leave Minnesota.
And he said as much after the fact.
Okay,
he
but
wished he'd gotten himself out of there early.
But if this was 99 or something and we're sitting here and I'm not playing, I'm going to be like, there's no way KG didn't tell them he wants to leave. There's no way Kevin McHale, you my man, but you know how many times that you and KG, some guys really don't go that far. And from what we learned about his personality, he won't kill a fly in front of him. So he doesn't want to hurt anybody's situation, and that's what's funny about it. Everybody's tough and they're taking advantage of his personality. Coaches never break code. Coaches never break code. Never.
And I don't know, there aren't many people out there defending what Stan VanGundy did.
But I haven't heard anybody mention it, though, and that's just the main
Yeah,
thing.
I've heard people criticize Stan VanGundy.
Yeah, because that to me was that was I had an issue with that because you know you think about it, you flip the script and you put a player in a situation. Well, you know what, y'all can cut me today. I'll go home. I'll be fine. You know, I'll whatever, however you want to phrase it or whatever you want to say, that player would be vilified. He was, you know, he would be thrown under a bus. You know, because listen, we all know that things go on internally. Sure, but just like he said, that doesn't give you the right to go out and breach that trust, you know, and just so you can kind of save face. Let me that to me is unacceptable. You don't do that as a leader. Chris is right on that.
We were at All-Star game, right? Everybody, basically Turner. Ain't nobody say none of this before he signed the paper.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's just like dating a girl. You the nice guy, all this, and as soon as she says, yeah, I'll go out with you again, you just, the devil. You know what I'm saying? And he stayed there. Once he stayed, this is my problem. If in fact it is just semantics and he wanted him gone, the team knew that before he opted.
Right, absolutely.
So let's agree on that, right?
Yeah.
So why does
that doesn't mean they didn't want him to stay.
So why does it come out after he's opted? And to me, he can't go recruit the next player and say, come with me, man, they trust us. Or he can't go recruit Lamar Odom next year and say, man, listen, man, I'm telling you, these owners have always been down for us. They love us. You're going to love it here. He can't do anything.
He's not in that position anyway at this point because everyone suspects he wants out ultimately.
Well, but he stayed
stayed
to sign the agreement to stay for one more year, which in essence sends the message to everybody that I'm willing to stay. So he basically, no matter what's said internally, ultimately it comes down to black and white. You know, we might have a lot of issues about working here or working there, doing this, that, and the other, but once you sign on the dotted line, you're all in, basically. So no matter what was said prior, he did go all in at that point. And so at that point, you got to just move on, and let's just try to make the best of this situation and not really address that. It's just unfortunate. I'd be shocked if Stan would do it the same way if he had the opportunity to do it all over.
I'm disappointed. If it's any AAU coaches, high school coaches, church coaches, you can coach at an old folks home, 90 and up. You can never.
It's a good league, by the way.
That's a real good league. A lot of charges, so be careful. But you can never. And like you said, I like Stan VanGundy. I mean, I like him. I like him as a coach. He's tough-nosed. He says it on his mind. But as a leader, you cannot do it because you're the buck stops there.
And say this too.
The buck stops there.
And we're not trying to absolve Dwight Howard.
No, not at all.
Because he has handled this thing
He's all over the map from the get-go.
We've said that from day one. He has not handled it well. But that has nothing to do with how Stan VanGundy handles it.
Agreed.
Just because your kid, misbehaves doesn't mean you as a parent can also.
You know what my kid did today?
Yeah.
Oh, he's just gonna go get an F. This kid. I mean, he can go get another daddy if he wants to. I done told him. Come on.
We got time to get Sekou involved one more time. Sekou.
Oh, my bad, Sekou. We just took it over, man.
You gotta at least let me get another word in. See,
my bad, Sekou. But I follow you on Twitter, Sekou. You don't let nobody get a word in on Twitter, man.
Listen, all I'm saying is, it's not okay for Stan VanGundy to do what he did, but it's certainly not okay for Dwight Howard to lie about it all the time. Man up. Just man up and say you did it. Ain't that a commercial? Man up. Think that might be.
That sounds like a slogan.
Yeah.
Back to the board here on Game Time.